Hey, welcome to God's Glory and Men's Real Stories. I'm excited that you would join us today for another great episode. And to all those listening for the first time, thank you for joining us. I want you to know that your story and what you may be going through, they matter here, and you're not alone. So don't worry about what chapter you're in because God's still writing your story. So sit back with this community that cares about you and hopes that you feel God's love as well as see God's glory and men's real stories. So my special guest today is a brother who, now he didn't know this before now, but when I first saw him, he definitely gave off don't talk to me vibes. So I didn't bother him. But the more I came around, the more I realized that was actually his resting love face, because this brother truly has a heart for people and men like me. But more importantly, his heart is aligned with God. So I want to welcome our brother, Viktor Nikolayenko.
There you go.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
All right. Hey,
it.
look. Hey, I'm like 1, 2, maybe 5 for 10 now. How you doing today, brother?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm doing good. And,
man.
It's definitely an honor being here.
Yeah.
It's a long journey, I guess, to come to your podcast.
Is it?
For me.
Okay. Yeah. We've talked about this for a while now.
But yeah, I've been listening to quite a few of your podcast episodes, and they're very inspiring. And you have a knack for unfolding men's hearts.
Okay, I'll take it.
In a way where you're like, I'm not coming here to share this.
Yeah.
I'm entertaining this idea.
Okay.
And
yeah.
You're great at it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'd love to take all the credit for that and be like, yeah, man, I kind of knew a little bit. I talked to somebody, I got the inside scoop, and then I just pulled it out of them. I have no idea what's about to happen in most of those episodes, nor do I know what's going to happen today, but I know God does. And so there was a moment where when I first started this podcast, I used to keep like this little paper of questions that I could ask people. And I ended up getting rid of that security blanket when I realized that he was doing all the talking. And as I was sitting there like, okay, my next question is, and he was like, no, pry into that. And I'm like, okay, well then, you know what? Forget about these questions. And I mean, if we just gonna go raw, then let's go raw. Let's just be organic with it. And so when I tell men that the conversation is going to be very organic, it's just going to be a conversation, I mean that. I mean, like I couldn't begin to tell you where to go, but I do know that so far I've told most people that you have the greatest resting love face. And so I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself now and tell all my guests, all my listeners and your listeners and everybody who's listening a little bit about yourself. Just introduce yourself.
Well, like Robert said, my name is Viktor, and I told him that I don't usually tell people my last name. We kind of had almost a conversation about that.
We did.
But I just feel like it's simpler initially just to introduce myself by my name because that's what I'm used to. I'm an immigrant from Moldova. It's a tiny little country in Eastern Europe. I moved to the States in about 2001 when I was 17, 18. And that was a little bit of a journey in itself. I got married young. I was 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I have 4 kids, which I'm very proud of. My wife is the love of my life. One of those women, when you see that those people that tell you stories about their love at first sight.
Right.
That was her.
Nice.
That was her, So yeah, now I am a woodworker. I am a pastor, and I love fishing. I love the outdoors.
I think that's an understatement.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Yeah. Said I love fishing. I was like, I honestly, now that I think about it, I've never not seen you when you're not doing something, not fishing. I matter of fact, it's funny, when I first met you, or when I first saw you, I saw you as like the guy who was gonna go out and make sure the grounds and the food and everything were ready. Like you had that appearance, and you also had that look of like, yeah, don't mess with me though. I'm gonna leave him alone. I'm gonna let him go fishing and do his thing. But like, no.
I do take my alone time seriously, but
I look forward to diving into that today because I think that is an important aspect of every, I won't even say just men's life, every person's life, of finding that alone time. And You know, I think that it's an underrated item of like, I love me, so I'm going to step away to give myself the alone time I need.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, fishing for you could be something else.
Right.
But it's an outlet where I think for me, why I love fishing so much is because it fully relies on the level of my hope. Throwing something into, murky water,
Right.
hoping for success, like that's what fishing is to me. And in between the catches that you make, it's just this time of solitude.
That was super deep. Okay, so like you just giving me my direction, because in saying that though, is there, if it's all about hope, do you feel like you address life even that way when it comes to like, okay, I'm throwing out a line and I'm hoping that what comes between me throwing this out and my next catch is going to bring back something fruitful?
I think we all do. I think that's all of our attitude towards life. Since, think about yourself as a kid. You are always hopeful about your future. And then I don't want to kind of go to, and then it comes a point in our life where we stop throwing, we stop casting.
Yeah.
And we stop hoping, we stop dreaming. And that's why, fishing for me, it's a perfect kind of reminder. But, obviously I do it because I enjoy it.
Right.
But it's this, I enjoy it because of this feeling of anticipation that my hope is going to come true.
Wow. Okay. So you just said a lot there, and it's so true. Okay. That was good, because I like how you said you're throwing it with the anticipation that your hope will come true. But there were times in a lot of our lives where that hope diminishes and we're just throwing it and passing time. We're just throwing the line out there, not expecting nothing, but we're passing time in life.
Yeah, there is. And I guess it's all about our attitude, like if you take somebody fishing for the first time and they don't catch anything, quite often their attitude is like, oh, I'm never doing this again. I knew this is going to suck, And then you go fishing sometimes and there's some guy fishing there with you, gets completely skunked, doesn't catch anything, not even a nibble, and he leaves the place with such a huge smile. Man, it was a great day. Like it's a completely different attitude from a person that has experience of success. And even though this day was unsuccessful, he enjoyed throwing the line.
Right. Sheesh. Oh my goodness, man. I'm sitting here thinking, are we still talking about fish?
Yeah.
Are we?
No,
But I mean, like,
hunting's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're sitting there hoping, you're calling.
Right.
You're calling, everything. First date, that's hope.
Oh, wow.
First child, that's hope.
Yeah.
You have nothing to show for it. You have nothing, no evidence that out of this murky water, something successful is going to come out. Something.
So back to my question then.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing is like, there comes a point where after you've gone a couple times and you throw it and it sucks for some people, they lose hope to want to go back and continue to fish. They look at it from an aspect of it's a waste of time. Why bother? Nothing came out of it. Nothing good comes out of it. And the difference in me sitting across from you and talking to you is that I've heard a little bit of your story before. And I also know that when it comes to our stories, we've had those moments where, as much joy as this brings me, I don't know if I want to throw it anymore, because I'm starting to believe that the hope is diminishing and maybe logic is taking its place of like, what's the point? Or maybe like what other people say is starting to slide it over and say, what's the point, man? You're wasting time. You're just passing time, and nothing good is gonna come out of this. And it's almost like a fight to keep that hope in place of what everything and everybody is doing to push it out of the way. And I even speak from a moment where I remember one time I don't know how this got locked into my head, but a guy through social media, it's where it came from, was like, what's the point of hoping? You're just setting yourself up for expectations that may not come true, that may break your heart, that may hurt you. Hope will get you killed. And I remember that echoing in my head, hope will get you killed. And I was like, he's right. Hope will get you killed. And then I remember that same, maybe a day or two later, I was in therapy and I was like, what's the point, man? Hope will get you killed. And I remember my therapist just being like, whoa. Normally I let you go, but like, I can't let you run with that.
Who
one.
planted that in there?
Yeah, like we need to stop right there before we even go any further. Let's figure out where that thought came from and why it's there. Because if there is no hope, then what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
Touche.
I mean, my first thought to your question was, what's the alternative? You know, if I'm not gonna have a perspective on my life, a hopeful perspective, which means I will not take risks, I will not try things, I will not venture out into things. What's the alternative? An alternative is this very passive lifestyle. And that was I remember that season in my life of the passive lifestyle where nothing really mattered. As long as I clock out at 5 o'clock and with the same checked out attitude, you come home and kids are too young to relate to, you know, and it's funny because we dads, we start kind of, at least from my perspective, our relationship with kids when they become a little bit older. So in this checked out attitude, you know, you're not pursuing your passions that you might have had before. And, you know, you kind of live this very passive, stagnant lifestyle. You gain weight. You have zero healthy habits. Your relationships, your friendships are all just down the drain. So that's the alternative of living without hope. At least for me, that's hope. However, it wakes you up. Like, it's better than an alarm clock. It wakes you up. So just, hey, this morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to, you know, cast out a line in hope. It's got to be a purpose, right? Because my purpose is to get that something, that catch, because I have that catch, clear picture of it, what it looks like. I know what a largemouth bass looks like, and I know what I'm casting for, you know? So casting without knowing what you're going to get, that's stupid. That's that's pointless. Why would I even hope? Because I have zero expectation, because I have zero knowledge of what is I'm going to get. What is it going to come out of this water? What's going to come out of today if I have no expectation of today?
Okay, I can dig that. So then what's the difference between you and the guy who just left with a smile? What did he experience while he sat there and cast all day? And even though he caught nothing, what could he, and of course he's not here to answer, but like, what could he have possibly caught?
I was that guy plenty of times. Okay. And I think the difference is sometimes you are alone and you just need that time to decompress alone. You know, I love going fishing to mountain rivers, fly fishing. And I remember one of the first time I'm going to download a bunch of songs on my phone and I'm going to listen to while I'm fishing. Well, I got to the river and the river was so loud that you couldn't hear your phone. And it was pretty much it was my first experience with an entire day, just silence. And when you're in silence, a lot of men are very scared of solitude. Solitude is scary. You're left alone with yourself.
Yep.
And when you're left alone with yourself, you're left alone with your enemy number one. So this solitude thing, it has to be experienced. And a person who has been in that alone space and came out of it, that guy will always leave with a smile, even if he didn't catch anything. But then there's another aspect to it, is you have a fishing buddy.
Come on.
A place that you are alone with someone. And you may be sitting there quiet the whole time, but it's just somebody to sit with you.
Yeah.
That's why all the fishing boats are 2-seaters.
That explains it. Okay. Touche. I've never seen a 1-seater fishing boat.
You want somebody like that. I feel like that's our wives, this adventure of life. We live it, and we're meant to live adventure to be shared with someone. I think it's from a movie or something. But if it's not shared, you're like, dang it, I have to repeat this in order for her to see this, or in order for my friend to see this.
Yeah.
I have to repeat this experience. I have to bring them here, or they got to see this, or they have to experience this. So like when you go to see a beautiful place, like you go by yourself somewhere, you're like, man, I got to bring my family here, which means I have to repeat this experience once again, so it can become meaningful to me when I share it, not when I just see it by myself.
Right. Nah, that's good.
And you have, you have your adventures, your business adventures, your life, your hobbies, and we're casting out with hope. And again, it's really important to know what you're hoping for. But when you know what you're hoping for, you're casting out with hope. And the number one thing when you experience some kind of success and whatever it is there somebody to share with?
Right.
The first reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And that's
like
true.
When you leave a place discouraged and, your hope didn't pay off, it's all about attitude. You can't put it any other way. At least to me, in my perspective, it's all about attitude. You can quit. You can give up. What's the alternative? Alternative is even worse. Just to live a lazy lifestyle. I think most of us a lot of us that don't have any kind of alone time or excitement or adventure or anything like that, we like to blame other people for it. Or my parents, or my wife, or my kids, or my job, or this.
Yeah.
Reality is I'm just too lazy for it. I would rather, watch Netflix than go out or do something, drive out. We become very lazy when it comes. Every single adventure, every single hobby, every single risk, every single, cast out requires us to give up our comfort.
Come on. Okay. I see where we going. So then in you saying that, then what, because eventually, there was a point where both me and your roads crossed where we met each other. But before that, I know the road that I traveled to get to meet men like you and others who are on a path that's like a path that everybody wants to be on, but they just don't know it even exists sometimes. They don't know that there's more. So what brought you to that place of like, I'm realizing there's more than just the mediocre every day, I show up, I perform, I do the job, I do the task, I make people happy. Like what brought you to that?
I think to me it was like a bouquet of different things in different places. I was always involved in church, and the closer I got to God, the more I realized that my church life is not what God intended it to be. It was not about Sunday services. And I started looking, okay, then what is it about? When I looked at my family, it was not what I hoped for. My relationship resembled a roommate situation than a husband and wife relationship. I looked at my job, and my job was just a 9 to 5 kind of thing, and at 5 o'clock just check out. There was no perspective, nor did I want any. I looked at my friendships, and there was none. There was maybe 2 people that I could call friends. Max, one person. And kind of putting all these things together, I'm like, okay, this is not it, but I don't know how to get out. And then I heard a phrase which stuck to me for the rest of my life. It said, if the king doesn't rise, the kingdom dies.
Wow. Whoa.
And I realized that I'm half dead. And because I'm half dead, because I'm lying down passively, playing dead, my kingdom is getting ravished.
Jeez.
Walls are breaking down, and everything that I have and everything that is dear to me, it's exposed for an attack.
Right.
Emotional, moral, and even in life, like everything is left unprotected because I don't have any hope. I don't have any goals. I don't have any relationships. I don't have my relationship with God is a disappointment to me, because I realized that there was no relationship, it was a religion. So this combination of many things kind of shook me pretty good.
Yeah.
Where you are in this position where your friends are getting a divorce, and you have this mask, this pose that, oh, I got my stuff is all together, but you're like, man, I'm an inch away from the same destiny. I'm right there with them, and you want to be there to help or to support or to
Right.
You see a catastrophic situation, you want to be there to fix it, and you're like, I can't even fix my own.
Right.
I'm in the same position, and I'm standing on the shaky ground myself. I can only observe.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hopeless to watch somebody's life get destroyed, and you being completely helpless to help in any way.
Yeah. No, wow. Yeah. I mean,
So
because you almost know that there's nothing I could tell you to help your situation because I have hidden that I'm right behind you in line.
Yep.
And if I continue on this path, my fate will look like your fate right now. And so you just kind of do. I mean, I think sometimes the best thing we can do is we try to show up and, man, like, you want to go to the bar or something, you want to go fishing, something, let's do something to take your mind off that. Let's play distraction so we can distract you from like what you're going through right now, because honestly, I don't even know what to tell you. Not because I want to say something good. I want to come in and step in and like say something inspirational, but it's like, dude,
it doesn't matter. None of it matters. No Bible verses. None of it matters.
Yeah.
Plenty of times I've been in a situation where I don't care about Bible verses. I heard them all. Or it's gonna get better. How do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the future?
Right.
Are you sitting in my Are you sitting in my chair? You know exactly what my relationships look like, what my job look like. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's gonna be better. It's gonna pass. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Not from where I'm sitting.
Right.
And unless you've been there and you know that it got better, that I can learn from you, the words really have no meaning. No Bible verses, definitely, for sure.
That's real. No, that's real. I mean, I truly think that coming from a background where everything that was served to me when times were bad were verses of encouragement and sayings of encouragement, and it's going to be okay. but it didn't, like you said, it didn't feel like it was going to be okay. It didn't feel like it was turning around. I couldn't see in any sequence how what I was going through was just going to snap and get better.
Yeah. There's only a very specific group of people that can tell you that went through the same thing and now are on the other side.
Yeah.
Now tell me what Bible verse got you through.
Yeah.
Tell me what saying, tell me what actions got you through.
I was just about to say though.
Tell me.
Yeah. I think it's not just the verses. A lot of people want to give you verses and sayings and inspire you and encourage you, but it's more about you taking your faith, your hope, and you mashing it with work. And a lot of times, by the time we get there, we're so passive, we're so done, we're so dead that we're just like, bro, I don't have it in me to even fight for this right now. I am dead inside. You just don't see it. Maybe if we had talked about it maybe months ago, I would have told you how dead I am inside, so you wouldn't even come with this inspiration. But I've never shared with you that I checked out of the game. I've been on the bench for probably about a year or two now. And so this was bound to happen because I gave up. I told the coach I didn't want to be put back in the game. And so I think you're speaking a lot of our story, and that in that moment, yeah, it feels like, and so.
Yeah. I feel like we try. So like when the light bulb goes off and the light is shining on your surroundings, and you kind of look around and you're like, I'm lying in trash and filth that I've created myself. You're like, all right, I need to do something. I need to do. So you start doing these things. You start trying things. And that's where the hope is kind of born and killed, because we try something that we don't know what we're doing, you know? And this hope, we're hoping for something, but we have no idea how to get there. And this mystery or this magic that you pray for, God, please, fix my marriage, or God, please help me with my job. God, please help me with my health.
Almost like he's a distressed genie.
Yeah, and we want him to give it to us. And this magic that we pray for, it's hidden actually in the work that we're not willing to do. So for me, all of that was actually became an adventure. It became an adventure to start a business and to quit my job. That adventure became an adventure into my marriage needs to look different. And I'm still in it. I'm not sitting here saying like, yeah, everybody's marriage needs to be like mine. No, but like, man, it's better than living with a roommate.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's better than being in that stagnant place. Your hobbies, like something that I used to do this all the time and I don't do it anymore. Why not? There's no inspiration for it.
Right.
The muse, there is no muse. There's no hobbies. So all of this, like we try doing new things. We try fishing for hope, but because we're geared up wrong, the hope doesn't catch on. And that which we're fishing, that successful catch, it doesn't work that way. And if somebody has to come alongside of us to tell, hey, you have your rod rigged wrong, and it's completely the wrong setup for this lake or for this fish.
That's good.
Let me share some of my lures with you.
That's good.
And let me fix your setup, and now let me put it in your hands and watch you become successful.
That's good.
And the first time when you see somebody, who's never, I'm going to go back to fishing, who's never fished before, and now you gave them your setup and they cast and they hook a fish, the face is like nothing else. And it's exactly the same everywhere else in life where, you've observed it and you asked, hey, do you need help? And now when a person admits, yeah, I need help, I don't know what I'm doing. And you're coming from a place, I want to build you up, not sit next to you, fish and catch fish in front of you so you can see what kind of loser you are.
Right.
I want to share you. And I want to tell you this. There's something about hunters and fishermen. We enjoy it more when the person next to us catches the fish because of how we help them.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it when somebody shares the meat with us because that's the full circle. That is the full circle for it to be shared with. And I think these small things that are in us, this love for outdoors or whatever it is that's in us, create adventure, hope. You love hiking. Well, you love hiking because you love the view behind the bend that you've never seen. The view that you've never seen. So you're willing to put the work step by step up a hill just so you can get behind that turn to see what's behind there.
Yeah.
Just so you can see it, and you look on your map, and on your map, the final destination is this waterfall. So you know what's your goal. You know what you're walking towards. And when we don't know what's the final destination, walking becomes pointless. Could be walking the same direction, except one of you is going to be walking all excited because he knows what he's holding. The other one,
right.
This freaking hill is pointless. Why am I even walking?
You know what though? I feel like I'm in a season right now where I'm walking. I've said this to many people, so I know people who are listening will be like, yeah, he said that to me one time. I feel like God gave me a direction a while back ago. And I'm walking now and I'm like, all right, like God, I'm still walking. All right. Like it's almost like I feel like it sometimes can feel like I'm in a wilderness and I've seen that rock before. I feel like I've seen that 5 times. Am I walking in circles? And you're like, God, wait a minute. Like I thought that if I followed you, this would be fruitful and it would bless me and it would bless my family. But why do I feel like you have me walking, but you've gotten silent in my life? And I'm still unsure. Like I almost feel like what you just said of like, I'm still unsure of if this path is still where you're taking me, or you just okie doke me and we're like, go left, and then you just ran off on me. And I recognize in life sometimes there's the men who need to be put back on the path. Then there's some of us who need to be reassured or need to know that God is still present on that path with us and he still has us going in this direction. And it's almost like we're both on 2 different paths, but it can feel hopeful when God's like, hey, look, it's right over there. It's right over the hill. You seen it. I'm preparing you. But then there's sometimes where it's like, all right, God, you told me. So told me this is gonna be it. Like, all right. Got over this hill. It's like nothing. Okay, all right. Maybe the next hill. And after you've continued to walk, you just feel like, God, where are you at? What's going on? Is this? And so it has me right now kind of checking my expectations. Like, wait, what did I expect? Because I continue to always go back to it's for my good, right, God?
Mm-hmm.
This don't look good, God. This don't look like I was thinking. I don't know. It's not looking as good as I was thinking. Like I said I wanted a red Porsche, God. It's red, but it's a Geostorm, whatever that is. I had one of those when I was 17, 18, and it's like that's far off from a Porsche. Like, where did I go wrong? Did I make a wrong turn?
My wife and I found ourselves in debt. And we had no knowledge how to get out of it. And my cousin came along and said, hey, I am doing this Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey's classes. You want to come on? I'm like, yeah, because we have no clue what we're doing. We went to the class. We started doing the program. What I loved about the program, there was a final goal, for sure. But there was 7 steps in between. So these markers along the way to, yes, your final goal. What is your final goal? Yeah, it's really important to be able to picture it. Like, if you're talking about something that God has given you, have you spent enough time just thinking about what is it that God has given us? Your goal, my goal, or I won't call it goal, I'll call it purpose. So this purpose, what does it look like? And to say, God, can you zoom in a little bit on that picture and get rid of the fuzz so I can get some clarity? What does it look like?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we do a lot of that. And that's the time in solitude. That's where for me, that's where it happens.
Yeah.
And then what are my markers on the way? You know, as you hike a trail, I love hiking. As you hike a trail, you see these markers on the trees. Hey, you're on the right path. And if the marker changes color, you're like, oh crap, where's my map?
Right.
This was supposed to be yellow. Why is it blue?
Right.
You know? So these markers on the way, hey, what's my next goal? And what is my next step? Yeah, I know, like, by now my purpose has become clearer, but on my way there, what am I going to experience? What are my expectations on my way there? So 2 or 3 years after we've done the Dave Ramsey thing, we were 2 years, we kind of found ourselves slacking. And we're like, yeah, we lost momentum. Guess what we did? Called my cousin. I'm like, hey, bro, are you doing another class? He's like, yeah, actually. We did it with different friends. Like, hey, we're going to do Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace and Radio. You guys want to join? I'm like, we've done it before, but yeah, we want to do it again. It seems like, bro, you're going back for the same information. What's the point? But sometimes going back to where you started and being a little bit ahead, be like, yeah.
I feel
You're like,
you.
oh man, suckers. I've sat here 2 years ago. I've sat in these chairs and I had just as much debt. Now, 2 years later, I know that this works. I know that it's good. I am not in such big of a hole as I used to be.
Right.
And you get reignited. The same information, going back to where you started and kind of reliving it again, re-experiencing again. What got you started in the first place? Spend some time there. The best thing is, tell somebody about it. Because most of the times when I share with people, I'm sure you have exactly the same experience. You're like, crap, whatever just came out of my mouth, that was for me.
Oh, okay. Woo, you speaking my language now.
That was for me.
Yeah.
So you telling somebody what got you fired up in the first place and seeing the excitement, man, I want to do that too. That's fishing.
Yeah.
You just tell somebody how to fish. You know, you just share something. You're like, yeah, I want to be that excited too. I want that excitement again. And to get into that rhythm where just laziness it just stops us from everything. Laziness, we some things are not hopeless. Some things are just lazy. Like your marriage is not hopeless.
Right.
I'm just not willing to do the work. So I'd rather get a new marriage.
Come on now. Come on now.
My job is not hopeless. I just don't want to put in the work. So I'd rather quit and get another job.
Yeah, or they're just hating on me. They don't want me here anymore. They're hating. They see my shine. They don't want me. No. They see that you're lazy.
Yeah. So I feel like, especially for guys, laziness is a big thing. I'm saying for guys because I don't know how girls feel.
But I stamp that message. I agree.
Comfort is everything, you know. Comfort is everything. There was a joke, like the lady said, I would rather. A comedian, she said, I would rather walk on my husband watching porn than him having a headset with a microphone playing video games. And the public started laughing, like, what the heck are you talking about? And the guy in the front row sits here, yeah, that's me. She's like, you're nodding, sir. Why are you nodding? He's like, that's me. She's like, how many hours a day you play video games? He's like, 6 hours. How old are you? 40. She's like, Napoleon conquered most of Europe by your age. And that's this laziness, this thing that we are just completely unwilling to leave our comfort.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I think I've said this before, in that comfort is sold to us. It's pushed to us. It's offered around the corner. Like, nobody ever has an ad where they're like, hey, look, you know, sit in this discomfort. Like, sit down and enjoy the discomfort of this pillow. We're selling uncomfortable pillows. And then while you're at it, come out and buy a nice uncomfortable mattress. Like because in this uncomfortable mattress, it's going to cause you to get out of bed more often. It's going to cause you to get less sleep so you can get other things done. And while you're at it, sleep on this uncomfortable pillow so you can get less sleep at night and do more. It's like,
we choose it though. We do. It's offered. But not everything that's offered we have to accept.
That's true.
You know, and raising our kids, we don't have to take a hard road. We can take an easy road. And just be a parent that's not involved in a kid's life or a job. You can take an easy road in everything.
Yeah.
And they're definitely offered, and you can spend your entire life on welfare.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to. You'll still live, you'll still survive, you'll still be comfortable, and you don't have to get married because that requires a lot of work. So you can just hook up occasionally on the weekends, and that requires zero work.
Yeah.
You know, so just...
But, you know, I think the spirit of passivity, is that a word?
It is now.
Let's just go with I feel like it's been haunting a lot of us. I mean, we can start from Genesis and we can go through Revelations and we can read stories of men from Adam on who just sat back and let whatever happened. It's like, whatever, like, you know, it's whatever. And we watch kingdoms fall. We watch people be destroyed. We watch literally exactly what we have been told that our enemy would do. We watch him come in and steal from us, kill everything around us, and then destroy us because of our passivity. Because we've just said, you know what, I'm going to take this play off, and I think I'm going to take the rest of them off, and I'm just not interested anymore. I don't feel seen here. I don't feel important. Nobody needs me here. Like my wife is taking care of the kids, and it's just like, honestly, I feel like if I didn't come home tonight, nobody would even notice. I don't really matter that much here. So it puts us into like a very like, it's whatever, man. I mean, hey, look, you going out this weekend? Hey, I don't know, man. Ask the wife, man. I'm doing whatever she told us to do. Who cares, man? I don't care. And I think when you recognize a guy in that place, whether you know it or not, you have just heard from a guy who's ready to possibly say, man, I'm done with this life anyway. Yep. And it's all about how you respond. Because you can be like, oh, I feel that. And you're just agreeing with them that, yeah, man, I feel that. Go ahead and throw in a towel, bro. I'm right behind you. Or you can say, hey, man, what's going on? You seem really passive about everything. You seem like it doesn't really matter. Like nobody cares about what you think. What do you think?
Yeah.
And there might be a lot behind that. There might be a story that a man needs to get off his chest that might be able to put him back on the right road after he kind of like works through like where that came from and what's behind that and why do I feel this way and what's the story I've been telling myself since that thing happened where it was like my voice didn't matter. Like we were sitting here choosing mattresses and I wanted an uncomfortable mattress and she wanted a comfortable one and it's like, oh, who cares what I want? And I mean, like you're smiling right now because I think we've all been in that space where it's like, is there a need for me here right now? Like, do I matter? Do you see me? Do you hear me? Does my voice matter?
I'll tell you a story then.
Okay.
You want a story?
Yeah.
So I told you kind of when we were talking about our introduction, I told you can introduce me just by my name. And we kind of went on a side conversation about my last name.
Right.
And I told you that I don't introduce myself by my last name. And at one point in my life, I was set on killing my last name in the sense that I didn't want to be associated with my last name. So when we started our conversation, I told you, well, what's the alternative, of living a life without hope? And my dad was the alternative of living a life without hope. Yeah, he was an engineer. He had a great job, obviously married to my mom. And then all of a sudden, the entire country's economy just collapsed, and the country as it was didn't exist anymore. So generations of hope that was set up by political leaders for the life of people was gone overnight. And a lot of people, a lot of adults went into deep depression, suicide, addictions, you name it, it was there because all hope was gone. So I've kind of seen it, what a life looks like with no hope. So a life with no hope was filled of addiction. A life with no hope broke up a marriage. A life of no hope ruined his relationship with me. A life of no hope provided nothing. He just existed. He literally just existed till the day that he died. And there was nothing there in him that me as his son looking at him would say, I want to be like this man. So when you have a life with no hope, when you have a life that you have nothing to look forward to, that is, the alternative is very dark. And it's a very damaging place. So growing up in that place of no hope, I know exactly what it looks like. I never want to be there. Now, the shocking thing to me is when I found myself in that place of just cruise control without any hope. Like when you get on a highway, you drive on a vacation somewhere, like you got like 10 more hours to go. You drive on a highway and you're just out. And you don't even notice how like 2 hours have passed while everybody's sleeping.
Right.
That's like, I found myself living like that. And then you just kind of like wake up, we're like, whoa, I'm on the road.
What chapter am I in?
Yeah. Where am I at? How many years have passed?
Mm-hmm.
And you find yourself like, man, everything that I wanted to kill, I became that. It just looks differently. It's in a different country, and it's different things, different places, but it looks exactly like that. It's life with no hope, and I have no reason for that whatsoever. It's our tendency to drop our hands down and, well, it didn't pan out how I was hoping, so what's the point? And a lot has to do with what is it that you put your hope in. So like things, people, they will break your heart. Places, jobs, family, they will break your heart.
Yeah.
So you can live with them checked out, or you can live every single day casting out. And this is what my marriage is supposed to look like. So I'm going to cast out in that direction because this is what I'm going to fix my rigging so it gets that, what I'm fishing for.
Right.
What I'm hoping for, I believe, I believe that I'm going to pull that out of the murky waters, that I don't see nothing below the surface. But I've seen other people do it. It means it's possible.
Right.
Which means my marriage that I'm dreaming of, that's possible.
Yeah.
And my goal and my business goals and my faith is possible. Why? Well, I read it in the Bible and it looks nothing like my faith today. it means my rigging is different. My rigging is wrong.
Right.
I want my relationship with God to be good. I want to enjoy the relationship, not be dragged to church.
Yeah.
You know, I want my relationship with my kids to be good. I want them to look at me and say, yeah, I want to be like my dad.
Yeah. But see, the thing is that I think that's exactly what you're creating, because I remember you gave me this necklace right here, and you gave it to me after I shared a story with you one time, and what it is it's just a black circle with cracks in it where it's been put back together. It has a kintsugi, if anybody's familiar with the kintsugi, pottery, where it basically it's at one time it was in pieces, just like you may have looked at your name, which is Nicolenco. I'm gonna get it right, Nikolayenko.
There you go.
Nicolenco.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And you've taken that last name, you took the pieces of it, you took the remnants of what was there when it just fell apart, and you're putting that back together, and you're forging something that when your son gets older, he's going to introduce himself every time by a name that he's proud of because of what you've done. But it didn't just, you had to have gone through what you went through, the mess, to see the importance and the value in your last name by putting it back together. So maybe this necklace is for you, but I recognize that what you're doing now is forging it back together. You're putting something that at one time somebody had just thrown away and said, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lifelong process. And the reason,
Sure.
stupid saying, I hate it.
Yeah, but it's true though. It is forever.
And now I regret saying it because I feel like it's a lifelong fight, not process. Because there is someone fighting against you.
True, very true.
So,
but even in a process though, it doesn't sound as victorious. Like there's a something coming against you. But even in the process, think about it. I mean, I've always thought about the phrase "trust the process."
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody say trust the process that they're not in a fight. They're not aiming for something. They're not going for something, and they have people coming against them that are trying to keep them from completing that process. Yeah. So tomato of battle process, but I think you are in a fight to continue to keep something that you're trying to forge, because I recognize that I have a similar story, and that, I felt like my dad gave me a name that I wasn't really proud of. And on top of that, I was the third. And so I was looking at the two before me, and they were great men. They did a lot of great things. They did a lot for a lot of people. They did a lot in their communities. They did a lot in their homes for their wives. But I felt like I didn't know what it looked like to do that or be that, because I didn't really get a blueprint. And I look back and I can say, I love my dad. And I feel like he kind of deserted me to figure out this name on my own.
Yeah. I feel like there's this experience that we call the Outpost, right?
Yeah.
The first time that I showed up there, I was a defeated man. There was nothing left. And I came there because I was looking for a place to connect with God. And over the years, as I've been coming there, every single time this experience brings a new level, or not necessarily up level. It's more, becomes broader, my understanding of who God is and his purpose for my life. And who am I grows broader and wider and stronger. So, but one thing that helped me out from the very first Outpost experience was understanding the environment, understanding that I am not in a life, I am in a life of fighting. When I am dead, there is no point of anybody standing against me. But when men like you and I wake up and we refuse to play dead, now you have an enemy that stands against everything that you represent. Every one of your family who carries your last name, every relationship, every opportunity, every hope. Now it's no longer a life, it's a fight, because you no longer choose to go with the flow, you know? You no longer choose. Now you turn yourself around and you're going against the flow, and you are representing resistance. And by doing that, everything that belongs to you, your kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Now everything you're putting it with your decision that I will no longer play dad. Now you have put all of that under attack.
Yeah. Yep.
So it seems like, why not just play dad? Why put everything that you have in jeopardy?
Yeah.
Well, what's the alternative? It's going to die.
Yeah.
Everything is going to die. Not only is going to die, everything that I'm experiencing is going to continue for the next generation and generation after that.
Right, right. But, you know, on top of that, though, I recognize for those guys who are like, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover, and that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, too. But I recognize, I literally was reading this week. So, God, I appreciate you pointing me in this direction. I was reading Joshua this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I had never seen this, but there were so many battles in Joshua. There were so many battles, but the battle that stuck out to me the most was the one where they were fighting an army that was way larger than them. I think that was just about every time. But in this fight, it wasn't just them. As their enemy ran and tried to flee and get away from them, God started raining down hell from heaven. And it said, God killed more men than all the Israelites killed.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on.
That's
you
the
mean
beauty.
to tell me I'm in a fight with a God who can do more damage than I could do on my best day?
You're enlisted. When you wake up, you're enlisted. You become a part of an army that existed before you for thousands of years. You become a part of this huge army that's led by somebody way greater than anybody that we know.
Yeah.
You know, there's this part about Jesus that I kind of noticed recently. He never talked people into following him. Hey, you want to be a part of my group? Come follow me. No, I got this thing to do. I got that to do. Cool.
Understand.
Cool. I am almost, hopefully positive that some people that refuse to follow Jesus regretted it later when they saw what his disciples have become. Jesus long gone.
Like them, what happened in Acts.
Jesus long gone, and then these guys go to turn the entire Europe upside down. And I grew up with that guy. And now this Peter dude and this Paul dude, to look back with regret, it's worse. I could have, I should have, they say that old age is either age of memories or regret. And to look back at your life and to sit there and a regret of all the decisions you haven't made, or all the decisions you have made that were wrong,
or all the decisions that you've made that nothing came from it. Like you accomplished everything, you achieved, and you got all the money, and it's empty. Like there's no constant like prize winning bell that continues to go off and remind you how great you are and how much you did, and how it just feels empty. And you realize that there were men at one time that all lost their lives. They gave their lives to follow after a man that didn't come with fame. It didn't come with an unbelievable amount of money that just poured down on them. But yet they all died preaching the gospel of a man who a lot of people look at and say, he's not even here to walk with me. He's not even here to talk to me. So why would I follow after a guy that I can't even physically touch or talk to? It's the concept of like, if I physically can't see him and know he's there and know he's doing something, why would I believe that? And it's like, as you keep saying, use the thought of what's the alternative? You can go and just make money and just live a good life and just be a good guy and what are you believing in? What do you have that continues to keep hope fueled? Because there's got to be a run out of hope where you're just doing that. That's it.
You have, to me, you have to look at the evidence. So one aspect of the relationship with my dad is when I became a believer, my dad hated that. He was an atheist, and the entire cultural aspect that we grew up in was there is no God. And when I started going to church, I was a huge disappointment to him. So, I don't know, like 12 or 13 years old, I had to stand with a decision. Is losing my dad worth putting my faith in this guy that I've never seen or know? And there's this hope that what's the alternative? Well, alternative, a relationship without this guy that I've never seen is hell. Life is pointless because I live in order to experience how this guy that I've never seen pulls people out of hell. And literally, like, out of their marriages, out of their addictions, out of those situations. And I don't know anybody else who does that.
Yeah.
And when I look at the evidence, you can live your life without God. Plenty of people do. Plenty of people do. But for some reason, these people who choose to live their life for God, they have more drive. They take risks in life. They have adventure in their life. They have stories like I've never heard of. They have experiences that are mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Their kids are good. Their marriages are good. Their finances are in order. Their friendships are good.
And then they even add on top of that, even when all of that is a disarray, they still seem to have this hopeful look of like, what are you smiling at, bro? Yeah. What are you so happy about?
Yeah, because it was not about these things.
Yeah.
A life with God is not about these things. All of these things are just a side effect of your relationship with God. So when we talk, I have people in my life that reject God with everything that they are because of an experience that they've had as kids with church.
Yeah, we always get back there.
Yeah. We always do.
Yeah. It does. No, it's real though. It's real. It's crazy how many stories run through a bad experience with church. And I like to normally clarify to say church people.
Yeah. And it's tough to see. It's tough to see because you literally seeing is people like me have done that to him. People who have misrepresented God, who God is, his character. This neighbor or this person or this friend of mine is a byproduct of that. But on the other hand, that is not the norm. That is the exception.
Yeah.
And we're really focused on the failures of the church, where let's look at the positive things.
Yeah.
Who the church is in our world. It's a place of hope.
Yeah.
It's a place. How do people treat the church? I ran out of everything else, and this is my last, what? Hope.
Yeah.
That's how people treat God. This is my last hope. And unfortunately, for some of us, we need to run out out of everything in order to come back to what initially we were started in. And it was God. It was not even the church. It was God.
He was the foundation.
We just know where the place is. We just know a direction. Hey, God is in this direction. So I'm going to go in this direction and see what I see on the way. Because why? Because I got nothing left. Nothing else left. Everything that I've tried, everything that I've done, it's not it. Either successful or not, it's not it.
And the crazy thing is, God is the only person who willingly, knowingly, lovingly will accept you back. It's not, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's people with low standards out here that will take a person back after they've just completely, but like not without giving them a hard time, not without throwing it in their face every day, all the time. God will lovingly accept you just how you are, knowing that he has no intentions to keep you that way. He'll accept you just from the mud you came from. He'll take you from all the crap that you walked through.
Yeah.
And when you ran out of all other choices, when you look to him, he said, it's okay. I'm not gonna treat you like a lot of other people who are like, oh yeah, you came back when you had no other choice. No, I love you. Come on.
That's one of the things that I loved about the Outpost. My first impression of the Outpost, this experience, was that this place is full of people who are done with religion and are all about relationship.
Yeah. It's man church.
And to be in the place where there's 100 guys just hungry for God's presence. Churches are praying for this place.
Yeah.
Like, churches are praying for experiences like that. Usually it's kids and women. Guys are just passively sitting in the back row.
Yeah.
And here you sit in a place with 150, 160 guys and it's full of, even the way guys worship is different.
Tell me about it. Man, look.
It's different.
It's different. Yes.
So when a man wakes up and when a man sets out on this journey towards God, that's my final destination. I want to be like the Son of God, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to experience my life with him by my side, with God guiding me every direction, every path, every trail that I take, every cast that I make. I am hoping that he will provide the success. It's different than hoping for nothing. Now you have a guide. And one thing is, when you go fishing with a guide, they're set up. They're set up. They know the places. They know the spots. They have the rigging. They have radars. They have everything that you need to be successful. And even if you catch nothing, you leave that place with learning a ton. So when you walk through life with God, it's different. It's different than just by yourself.
Yeah.
It's different than trying it all, you know, having a machete in your hand and cutting your own path. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. Or you can follow a God that makes a way.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's interesting that God says, I am the way. Jesus says, I am the way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was talking about it. Like, you cannot avoid that. You say,
Yeah.
I am the way. Like you looking for life. You're looking for all these alleyways. You're looking for all these places. But
Making your own way.
you can make your own way.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to force you.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to send you extra punishment because you are not his follower. No, you're just going to punish yourself. Your decision will do that.
For sure. There's a consequence.
And there's good people. There's
Yeah.
good people that have really good life choices. They just choose to do it on their own.
Say it. No, it's real.
And that's a life without hope.
It's a life with their own hope. They create that hope. They make it. I mean, I have good friends who feel like what they've constructed is really good. What they've and it's good until it's not good. And you know, I'm not here to say, oh man, your life is doomed for hell when you're but because I love them,
Yeah.
I do have to say, hey, look, I know a better way. I know a better way. And that's not to say your way's not good, but just know that if that way doesn't turn out the way you thought it would, I know a way.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is that, hey, look, if there's you ever feel like, you know what, I'd like to just see what your way might be talking about. Yeah, man. No, don't even feel like you got to come shamefully. No, like if he can accept you back lovingly, bro. Like, man, I've been waiting for the day that you would come and like say, man, I'd love to know what your way looks like.
Sadly, most people come to God when we run out of options. And I don't believe that God sets up circumstances for you to run out of options. That's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
That happens. But us guys, we haven't been experiencing church that way. As men, we haven't been experiencing church as adventure. We haven't been experiencing our walk with God as adventure. It's something that you do out of obligation or out of, I don't know.
It's a check-off thing. It's almost become like a Sunday thing. We eat lunch at this time, but we go to church at this time. And we don't do anything until we go to church first. That's the check-off. And then we've made it very much a task of our lives. Check it off. All right, what we doing next? Brunch? Check. We go down the list on Sundays, and that's become a chore to some men. And they're just, I hate to say it, I see men in my church on Sundays where they're just like, yeah, like you could tell they're just like, all right, we got that done with, man. What we doing next? It's like, because I'm just, hopefully whatever comes next is more exciting than what I just experienced.
For many of us, going to church is the only social aspect of our life besides work. So in search of that, you're too old or too tired to go out on Friday night, or you have too many kids, you know? Yeah. So what's the next social thing to do? You go to church. You go out to eat after that, whatever. But like for us as guys, something that was meant to be a place that empowers us has become a place of just draining our patience. You go there, you fall asleep for a little bit.
I mean, I'm still always searching to understand why that may be. And I know I've heard different people say different things. I just heard something yesterday where a woman speculated that these were all opinions and speculations of people. She said, a lot of men don't want to go to church where their wives are already looking up to the pastor in the pulpit and wishing you would be more like him and giving you a hard time when you're not like him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, is that really a thing? Does that really happen? Oh my goodness.
Or somebody else's marriage that's sitting in the row with you.
Oh my goodness. And so you're just like, oh, we got to go there so I can sit here and be compared all week.
It's another place that I feel like I'm not enough.
Sheesh.
Yeah. That's the difference when men lead their family to God and when women lead their family to God. There was a success study done that when men come to God, the chances of the rest of the family coming to God is 97%. When women come to God, the chances of the rest of the family coming to God was like 17 or 13%.
What? Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't expect it to be that bad.
I am the statistic. My mom and I became believers. My dad never did.
Wow.
So that's the difference because the relationship with God is, there's this leadership thing in every single man. Doesn't matter, fighter, lover. I don't even think that's what right. Keanu Reeves made that joke. You have to fight for something that you love, and then he cracked up himself. No,
I don't. It might have been.
You gotta be a fighter to be in the relationship, and it's like, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. And
right.
He said like you have to be a fighter in order to love.
Yeah. So something that crafty.
Yeah, we have different characters. We have different, just different way we do life. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't take away the fact that biologically we are created to lead. Mm-hmm. And when we are paired up with strong women, that's a power couple.
Well, we've been appointed to lead, and we've been appointed to have a helpmate. I mean, that's biblical. And that doesn't demean the women in our life's position.
So who hates this power couple combo?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, he hates it with a passion.
Exactly.
I think the divorce rate speaks for how much he hates it. If he can just get in just a little bit, he's going to force the two of us apart.
So now you have two people that are going after God.
Mm-hmm.
And where a man doesn't need, church is not a place any longer where he feels like he's not enough. Church is a place where he comes home. He comes where you bring yourself, whoever you are, however you are, and you bring your family there. As guys, we have abandoned this position. And because this position has been created for husbands, for men, nobody else can take that position, not our kids. Sometimes you have situations, especially in families, where children step up to the plate.
Ooh, yeah.
And carry the load of the father.
Yeah.
Where wives step up to the plate and carry the load of the father. And that's what my mom did. But because the place was not meant for her, my relationship with my mom is not what it was supposed to be. You know, because my mom was meant to be my mom and my dad was meant to be my dad. And my mom had to play two roles of mom and dad. That's impossible.
It's not impossible. She did it. But it wasn't. It did something to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when men give up this position, I'll again bring out my dad. When he gave up this position that he was supposed to be in, that destroys a family.
Yeah, but where there is a generational break or destruction in a family, it's just waiting for the next warrior to step up and begin to mend what that family had that was broken, begin to put the walls back together, begin to build the bricks and make the bricks that are going to make that name last.
Absolutely. Except it's hard.
Oh, yeah. Well,
You
yeah,
know,
there's that for
for
sure.
you to grow up and like, you know what? I not only have to take care of my own crap, I have to rebuild 2 generations of issues that are in me. And because of those issues, now I'm bringing them into my marriage.
Sure.
Now I'm bringing them into my relationships, into my friendships, into the way I raise my kids. I bring all of that with me.
Yep.
And, you know, you're like, I'm still in this process. Yeah, but now you have kids.
Yep.
I'm still in this process. Yeah, but you have a family. I'm still in this process. But yeah, you have to provide. I'm still in this process. You have to also take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And in all of this mess, it's like, as guys, we feel like we're juggling a bunch of activities.
Yeah.
Different personalities.
Yep.
Different responsibilities. And we keep on juggling them. And the only way is, like you brought up Joshua, is if somebody leads the way.
Yeah. We need somebody fighting with us. I mean, everything you just said is what I hear from a lot of men. And I recognize that in knowing that we're juggling all of this, sometimes just looking at all we're juggling makes you just give up hope. I mean, let's be real. You're looking at all the tasks and all the titles you have, and you're just like, bro, this is too much. And I got to heal all the wounds that happened to me before I even met these people. And it's easy for us to like just blame our dads. It's his fault. It's all his fault. He set me up wrong. Yeah. He gave me this last name. He sent me on this path, and he jacked me up. And it's like, and all that, you got to heal that too, on top of carrying all the titles. You got to heal that brokenness, that hurt, that little boy that at one time had to step up and be a father, be a man of a household when he wasn't ready yet and he hadn't been groomed and prepared to be a man yet. You have to step up and do a job that you have no idea what you're doing. And then later on in life, you got to heal all the resentment wounds that you carried because you had to do a job that wasn't yours yet. And while you're doing all that, by the way, as if that wasn't heavy enough, and as if it wasn't something that we just don't ever want to do in the first place because we don't want to even look back at our past. We're told to raise a family with these wounds. and this idea of what
And
it
be a
looks
leader.
like. Yeah, and be a leader and be all of these things. When and I told my wife this the other night. We're expecting people to be grown-ups. We're expecting people to be leaders, but we're never stopping to sit with them and be like, you may not want to say it, but have you ever been shown what it looks like to be a leader? Have you ever been groomed to know what it looks like to be a parent? Who parented you? Maybe you parented you. Who provided and showed you what it looks like to be a provider? Maybe it was somebody who didn't really show you what it looks like to be a provider and love on his kids and show up at their games and show up and speak words of encouragement and affirmation into them. He was just this. They were just that. And so the way we're doing it is a mimic. We're literally taking what we saw and we're turning around and we're performing it. Not because we're bad people, but because that's all we were given. We were given this blueprint, and we'll even say things like, "I'll be nothing like them," and then turn around and be like, "But I don't have no blueprint for this, so get ready for whatever. Like here it comes." And it's and you tried your best, you did your best. My dad did his best, but there were still parts of it that I'm having to heal now, so that I can do my best to put my kids in a better space. And they're going to have to heal from things I've done. And so is it a process? Yeah. Am I supposed to finish the process? I don't think so. I think one of these days I'll look back at my grandson and hopefully if I'm doing enough right, I'll be able to see him continuing on in the process and not just taking the same baton and running the same thing I'm doing.
To me, it's not easy to be the person that I'm describing. Like I just have, this piece of paper that I wrote down, like, who do I want to be as a human being? And what are the steps to get there in every area of my life? Finances, relationships, faith, marriage, kids, goals, hobbies. Who do I want to be as a person? It's simple as that. Who do I want to be as a person? And if becoming emotionally available or a better friend, a better husband, a better parent requires me, hey, I see these kind of people, I see them in church. I need to check it out.
That's good.
I got to follow the evidence. I need to check it out. Where's the majority of these people? They're in church. Are they all successful? Have they all arrived? None of them have.
Mm-hmm.
That's silly to even think.
Yeah.
No, we're all on this way, on this path, going there. And heck, I'm the first guy to say that I was extremely disappointed with church, because church has become something that was never meant to be. But I knew that's where the place is to start. That's where the journey begins.
Yeah. Well, you were I think it's fair to say you were disappointed in the people that were there.
Yeah.
You were disappointed in what your expectations had.
What it even looked
told
like.
you. Yeah, like how what you would get out of it. But I think that, and this is crazy as this is, I love how we said this before the episode started, how sometimes we're talking about things and it ends up being a message for us. But while you were talking earlier, I said something about like, God, I don't know why I'm on this journey and I feel like I'm alone. And literally while you were talking about something, God said, yeah, but are you enjoying the journey and not worrying about where we're going? If you enjoy the journey, you'll see that I'm right here and I never left. And I was like, sheesh. And I remember just putting my head down like, wow, sheesh. But to go back to what you were saying, I think that the journey has always been about walking with him and then finding ourselves walking with others. And no, they won't be perfect. No, they won't have it all figured out. Yes, it will like set some of our expectations back. Like, wait a minute, I thought that this was like like where all the people who have it figured out and are like on a higher level are at. But no, you realize that, man, they're walking the same walk I'm walking. Some of them may be further back according to the way I look at it, or maybe some of them may be further ahead. But regardless, we're all walking an imperfect walk in our lives as we're striving to be more like him, and we're falling to the wayside. But yet, if we didn't come, if we didn't show up, if we didn't find that community, the alternative is knowing that I'm walking alone. And like you said earlier, walking alone is not how God ever had it planned.
No, I feel like our life was meant to be an adventure. Our just life in general was meant. And what makes an adventure? When there is a sense of danger, when there is a sense of resistance, when something goes against you, when there is a level of difficulty to it. And we as men, when we lose those, when we get to a point in our life when we press cruise control, that's where everything disappears. That's where hope goes away.
Yeah.
And when there is like, why are guys so apathetic towards church? Because there's no adventure in church. Church is a perfect environment for women and children. It's peaceful, it's fun, it's encouraging.
So I think that's a good segue to even ask. So tell me about the way, because as we were talking about the way, and I just happened to look at your shirt and it said the way. I think that would be a great segue for you to tell me about the way.
I feel like the way started as a home group. And the funny thing is, we're a home group made up of families from different churches. And they would come and they would share their experience about, what their church experience was like. And it grew to a point where they decided to rent a church space for I think it was New Year's event, because the group grew out of all the people's homes, and kids were just too many kids, too many people. And then just kept on renting and meeting on Saturdays and looking around who's in those places. It was a lot of people from a lot of churches that kind of knew that something's not clicking. Something is not, there's got to be more to this God. There's got to be more to this Christianity. There has to be more. This is not it. This is not enough.
Crazy how I think we all get on that journey of like, what more is there? Like,
and everything before that was necessary. All of our experience with God or about God or no God at all was necessary for us to arrive to this point where we ask ourselves, this is not it. Where you come to the point like, it's got to be more. There's something else. I don't know what it is, but there's something else.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come to the point, that's when you're waking up. So the way church is just a bunch of people that are searching for God. And some people that are there to help others find the way.
Right.
And we're all walking in this one directional journey. And it's people from different walks of life, different churches, believers, non-believers, immigrants. But it's a place where there's no tradition or religion. And I don't want to say like, hey, we're the only church. No. When God does something, he doesn't do it in one cell. He does it in an entire body of church. So churches that are desiring that true relationship with God, they're all moving in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like globally, the church is abandoning religion and tradition, and they're going for the heart of God.
Right.
And that's what you experience in all churches across. You experiencing this move towards God. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. These actions, these religious traditions, I want to move towards God. And that's what the way is.
I think that I'm learning because I've always been a part of religion. Mm-hmm. Then I realized that I wanted a relationship with God. I wanted a personal relationship with him. And in that personal relationship with him, I experienced what religion really was as God sees it. But so many people have gone to religion first and haven't found that relationship instead of going to relationship to truly experience religion. And I'm learning now that, like, I had thrown away religion. I didn't like the word anymore. But I realized that God's, like, true religion is in relationship with me. And that's when you've experienced, because you can't throw away the word religion out of the Bible, but the context of how it's seen and how it's done has kind of been like a thing of where people have been just doing religion. We were just making religion. We're bringing you together for religion, and realize and missing some people are like, well, hey, look, your relationship with God is through the pastor. But when you realize that you have your own relationship and you can have that relationship with or without a pastor, that's where you start to experience true religion in relationship. And I just came to that, by the way. That's new. I have just realized in reading that, like, this is how God always looked at religion. So I love when people put them on a way of understanding that in their relationship, they will truly experience what religion was always supposed to be.
Yeah, it's
and that's you know,
I think we waking up in general as people, we're waking up to the fact that the relationship that is described in the Bible looks nothing like what I'm experiencing in church. Or what I'm experiencing as a Christian. It looks nothing like it.
Yeah.
We are so far apart that we have lost our way. Like, we literally have strayed away. We're different markers, trail markers. We're way off course.
Yeah.
And what God is doing right now is just bringing people back.
Yeah.
Hey, from Adam and Eve, this was a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
From Adam and Eve, before thousands of years later, before any religious rules were set up, any rituals were set up, this was all about relationship.
Yeah.
This was all about you, me, hanging out in a garden.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And he wants us to know that we still can have that.
Yeah. Enjoying every adventure that entitles in hanging out in a garden.
Yeah.
That is, every step away, you discover a new view. You discover a new river. You discover a new animal that you haven't named yet. You know, every step of the way, you are just constantly creating and constantly discovering. And why are you so fired up about your podcast? Because you are creating and discovering.
Yeah.
You have created a space where you are discovering people.
Yeah.
And
well, I'd even go as far as saying sometimes, not even, well, I won't even say sometimes, I think all the time, I'm helping people discover themselves, because it's through these conversations that you can walk away, or others can walk away and be like, wow, I didn't even look at it that way. I didn't think about it that way. Because if I'm just discovering who you are, then you're, what are you, I like you said earlier, if I'm not getting anything out of what I'm giving out, then, you know, it was great. It was cool. I shared my life, but I think there's so much that people can get even from listening back and being like, wow, I said all that. It's crazy. I never even looked at it. After listening to my self-talk, there was so much there. I realized something that, like, wow, he said that, and that was good, and I never looked at it that way. So I think what God does in this space, what God does in the space of the Way Church and other spaces that are constantly seeking him, I think he shows up and he shows out in our lives, and then he doesn't just say that's it. He's like, all right, now I need you to take this out to others. I need you to package this up and take it out to others.
And that's where it gets interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because like when we right now, we are realizing where we are is not where we're supposed to be, and we're coming back to what Christianity and followers of Christ was supposed to be like. The very next thing is, God, now what? It's this sense of wonder. Hey, I am abandoning that which is not right. You are off trail. I'm off trail. I need to go back where I have started, which means I'm losing all this time. Right? But I'm willing to do that. And once I get to where I was supposed to be, God, now what? Because I'm reading about these guys and they're supernatural. God, now what?
Yeah.
And God tells you, now run circles. Yeah, you mentioned this in the beginning. I feel like I'm running circles.
Yeah.
Man, I was in a very tough spot. It was a very tough week for me, and I was by myself at home. And I scrolled on the I think it was Instagram, and it was a sermon clip. It was literally a cowboy running a horse on church stage. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep on sharing it every single time I see it. But that sermon blew my mind because one of the things in that sermon that he said, he was running laps, making the horse run laps. And he's explaining, he says, to this horse right now, these laps are pointless. They lead nowhere. But from my perspective is, I am teaching him to trust me. So when I get on him, I can take him places that he's never been before. So when we come as guys, when we come to this place, God, okay, I know I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I don't know how to do this, but this is where I start. Now what? Look at your laps from a different perspective. Now it's time to run laps. And they're pointless. They're from your perspective. But from God's perspective, he's teaching you to trust.
Yeah.
As he's guiding you these laps, just run them.
Yeah.
Just run them. And when he stops running laps, when the cowboy stopped running laps, when the horse fully submitted. He says the horse stopped and looked at him, faced him. In the body language, he said, I'm looking for him to lick his lips. And the horse started licking his lips.
Wow.
He was like, that's a sign to me. A sign of submission. When that sign happened, that's when he started getting on the horse.
Sheesh.
So like these laps, this like, God, now I want you. Whatever it takes, however long it takes, I don't want to take him. But when you start viewing the laps as a form of submission, you'll run less laps.
I'd even go as far as saying when you finally submit to God and surrender by saying, God,
and now
I can't.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, all right.
And now he takes the reins.
Yeah.
What I've learned from it, like I'm that horse. I want to run free, and I feel like everything that has to do with God is restricting me from being who I want to be, from doing what I want to do. But the reality is, look back at the facts. Does my life represent freedom? When I look back at my life, does it represent freedom or does it represent bondage?
Yeah. Sheesh.
Like, I want to run free. I want to do whatever I want to do. Why do I have to feel guilty about this?
Right.
It's natural or this or that, whatever it is that your lifestyle is like. Look back. Does it look more like you're living in a cage that you yourself have built around you? Or does it represent the freedom that you call?
Yeah.
Are you running these circles by yourself, or there's a person in the middle of it that's waiting for you? Hey, bro, we've been doing this for 30 years, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for you to finally allow me to become the king of your life, so we can go places.
Right.
So we can get out of this cage.
Yeah.
So we can go. Anybody in a position of leadership, you're a poor leader if you never learned how to submit.
Right.
So this submission puts you in a place where, now I understand how everybody around me feels.
Yeah.
They depend on me and I don't deliver.
Yeah.
Where this, I know how this pressure feels. where you expect and the person that you depend on doesn't deliver. So us, putting our faith into something that's worth, because, God, he's not going to fail.
No.
We may feel like, oh, you failed me because why? You didn't provide me the delivery service that I have requested of you.
Right. Yeah. No. He's
That's not submission. You are telling God what to do.
Right. You're basically setting your expectations. Say here's my demands. So yeah, I'll submit as long as you carry out my demands. Instead of saying, God, I'm submitting to whatever this looks like, however you have this written. Yeah, that's good. That's it. You summed it up there, bro. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man, bro. I appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
I appreciate you bringing Viktor
Nikolayenko.
What now?
Nicolenco.
Viktor Nikolayenko.
There you go.
Yes, man. I'm gonna practice that a lot more, Robert, before the next time I see you.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been, man. This has been great. Thank you so much for coming and sharing today. Just opening up and sharing your story. Some of that stuff I didn't even know, but that's rich. That's rich. I'm going to see if I can't be put in your group next time, because I'm just going to dig into that. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with us today. This has been great. This has been good. I feel like we just ran laps there, but it was good. There was so much there. Maybe shout out your stuff to where people can find you and find the Way Church and other different things you're a part of. How can they find you if you're cool with being found? I have a lot of guests who are like, no, I don't like to be found, and know that if you find him,
you can find us at the Way CLT on Instagram, thewayclt.com.
Right.
Yeah, and our church is located on Bellua Church Road in Weddington. So
yeah. No,
you're always welcome.
Check him out. Yeah, he's serious about that too.
Yeah,
pull up. It's a good place to go. They definitely have created an atmosphere where just from my interactions with him, he's trying to get out of what a lot of people have been in and experienced to show them a new way, a better way, a way that no, I'm serious, because I hear that a lot, especially in the comments from people. It's like, yeah, no, I'm tired of the way I've been. Tired of these experiences I've had. And so they're looking for a way. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us, man. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. You be good. We love you guys. Talk to you soon.
We appreciate you listening today and hope that if you enjoyed this episode, you'll like and subscribe and also listen to past episodes. We hope to bring you great future content as well. Please comment your thoughts on this episode, as well as leave any prayer requests below so that this community can pray alongside you. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at God's Glory and Israel Stories.
Brothers, we understand how the thoughts of even facing your own past and current story and the pain and hurt that come along with this is no easy task. But you're not alone, as you hear in these episodes. Nor has God forgotten you or left your side, as He's in it with you, fighting alongside you through the storms of life. He loves and has already forgiven you, no matter what you have done, and He wants a relationship with you. Your healing, freedom, and growth are important to God, and to us as well. Maybe you're considering giving up, or need someone to talk to. Here are a few resources that already exist that we hope can shine a light into that dark place you're in. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number is 1-800-273-8255. If you need support but are not in crisis, consider reaching out to a warm line with individuals who would love to talk with you. Speaking to someone on these calls is typically free and confidential, and run by people who understand what it's like to struggle in life. Find a local number by going to warmline.org.